If you have ever felt overwhelmed by negative thoughts, stuck in a cycle of overthinking, or unsure of how to make changes in your life, you're in the right place. How would things be different if you could get out of your head and into your life? Welcome back to Mindset Mastery. I'm Corey Hirsch, and I'm so glad you're here today. We're going to be talking about how you can free yourself from anxiety, resentment, and other negative thoughts just by changing the way you think. First, I want you to understand that there is nothing wrong with you if your automatic first thoughts are always negative. In fact, if that's the case, that's your body working exactly as it should, because our bodies are biologically geared to protect us from danger. You see, at our core, we are animals, and our bodies have evolved over time to be extra sensitive to potential threats, both physical and emotional. This survival mechanism has kept us safe for thousands of years. Our brains are hardwired for survival, which means that we constantly scan our environment for any potential danger. Every time we enter a new environment or a new situation, we scan for danger, judging for potential threats. We look for where we can fit in, and we try to predict where there might be danger. When we feel anxious, stressed, or threatened, it's just our brain's natural alarm system trying to protect us. But here's the important part. Unlike other animals, humans have a distinct advantage. You see, we have a prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain responsible for higher level thinking, problem solving, and decision making. Our prefrontal cortex allows us to stop and evaluate and assess our first and automatic reactions so that we can decide whether the threat is real or if our feelings are just the result of our old survival instincts firing up. So when we experience a negative thought like, I can't handle this, or they wronged me, it is often the result of our survival instincts at play. Our brain is trying to assess potential threats, but it's not always accurate, and often our brain gets it wrong. Our thoughts might be exaggerated or based on outdated fears. Our prefrontal cortex allows us to question the truth of these thoughts. We have the ability to ask, is that thought true? And if it is, do we know that it is 100% true? Here's an example. I have a friend whose best friend's daughter's name is Sarah. And for 20 years, my friend bought Sarah birthday gifts and holiday gifts. We were at lunch one day, and my friend said to me, I am done buying gifts for Sarah. I've been sending her gifts for 20 years, and she has never called or sent a thank you note in 20 years. My friend was acting under the impression that people should acknowledge gifts. But is it true that people should write thank you notes when they receive a gift? How many times have you given gifts and the other person hasn't written a thank you note? Or better yet, how many times have you received a gift and not sent a thank you note? How many people do you think write thank you notes when given a gift? About half, maybe less. So how can we say that people should write thank you notes when at least half of the people don't? When we think things should be different, we are coming from a place where we're trying to make a perfect world. We're living in a fantasy where people do all the things that they should do. But in reality, people don't do those things. And as Byron Katie said, when we try to argue with reality, we lose only 100% of the time. In my friend's perfect world, people would always write thank you notes. They would also always stop at stop signs, and people would always tell the truth. But we don't live in that world. And the more we should all over people, the harder our lives get. When we start to live in reality, life gets so much easier. The other part of this situation is quite interesting. When I asked my friend why she was giving Sarah gifts all these years, she said because that's what best friends do. She realized that she was giving those gifts because that's the kind of friend she wanted to be. She had something to gain from giving those gifts. She was able to satisfy her need to be a certain type of friend. When she realized this, she was able to see that her gift giving really had nothing to do with Sarah. It had everything to do with how she wanted to show up for her friend. She wanted to be a friend who sends her best friend's daughter gifts every year. Once my friend was able to look at her thoughts and question them, she was able to see the situation totally differently. She went from feeling resentful, taken advantage of, and angry to feeling freedom and love for her friend. She realized that she had a choice. She could continue to have the thought that people should write thank you notes and feel resentful towards Sarah, or she could choose the new, positive, and empowering thought that was rooted in reality rather than in her fantasy of how things should be. Let's take the thought, I messed up. How many times have you had the thought that you messed up, only to learn that no one else was even aware that you made a mistake? Often, you might even come to learn that the other people thought that you did a fantastic job. So you have the thought, I messed up, and your central nervous system gets activated, and you may feel anxious, dread, or some other negative feeling. That's your brain trying to protect you from danger. It's your alarm system alerting you that something dangerous might be going on. But we can use our prefrontal cortex to ask the question, is it true that I messed up? Can I know with 100% certainty that I messed up? What does messing up even mean? Let's talk about that. Does messing up mean not being 100% perfect? Or does messing up mean completely botching the situation? When we use the phrase, I messed up, all we're looking at is the mistake we might have made, instead of looking at the other 99% of the situation that went well. So ask the question, can I know with 100% certainty that I messed up? Here's the key. You ask if it's true, and even if it feels so true, our negative thoughts always feel so true that it becomes difficult to see it any other way. But you do have a choice. If the thought has some truth to it, but it brings you stress, you can choose a different thought that is at least equally as true, but won't cause you to feel badly. Sometimes we can have a negative thought, and if we question it, we can see that that thought is not 100% true, that there are some holes in the thought. When we're able to see some positive in the thought, we can evaluate whether the positive thought can be as true as the negative thought. In other words, could both the positive thought and the negative thought have some truth? Neither one might be 100% true, but if they're not 100% true, then it's not totally true. And then you have two thoughts that you can choose from, the positive thought or the negative thought. They're both equally as true or untrue as the other. Because we are conditioned for survival, that negative thought always comes up automatically. We cannot stop that. But when we question our thought and we find that there's an alternative positive thought that could be as true or a lot of times even more true, we can choose the positive thought. So here's the situation. You went to a meeting, you put on a presentation, and you have the thought, I messed up. So you might have made a mistake, but that doesn't mean that 100% of the meeting was messed up. There was another 99% of the meeting that went really well. And that's on this side. I didn't mess up. I did a really good job even though I wasn't perfect. So which one are you going to pick? The negative thought that brings you stress, I messed up? Or are you going to choose the positive thought that says, I made a mistake, but I did a really good job otherwise? One thought brings you stress, the other thought brings you peace. Which one are you going to choose? Remember, you can't stop the negative thought from coming up. That's automatic. But you can learn to question those thoughts and choose the positive thought that keeps you comfortable. Sometimes people say, but that's lying to myself. It is not lying to yourself when you choose the positive thought that could be equally as true as the negative thought, because they are both potentially true. You are just choosing the thought that feels comfortable rather than living in a constant state of fight or flight. Choosing peaceful thoughts doesn't mean that you're fooling yourself or ignoring challenges. It means you are recognizing the difficulties and deciding to approach it with a mindset that supports you rather than holding you back. This shift in thinking will change the way you feel, moving you from stress and anxiety to calm and confidence. When you challenge the automatic and distressing thoughts that arise, you stop letting them control your emotions and behaviors. Instead, you take charge by choosing thoughts that bring you peace, no matter what circumstances you face. This process is so empowering because it puts you in the driver's seat. You are no longer a victim of your automatic thoughts. You have the ability to question them, challenge them, and choose the thoughts that align with the life you want to create. Once you made the decision to choose the positive thought, it becomes so much easier to let the distressing thoughts go. You no longer need to hold on to those thoughts that don't serve you well, causing you stress because you've recognized that they are not 100% true. And even if those thoughts still feel true in some way, you now know that you can choose a thought that serves you better. When you constantly choose empowering thoughts, you free yourself from the stress and resentment that come with negative thinking. You will feel lighter, more peaceful, and better equipped to handle whatever life throws your way. Remember that your brain's automatic reactions are often driven by survival instincts, but unlike other animals, you have the power of the prefrontal cortex to question your thoughts. If a thought is equally true and untrue, you get to choose the thought that brings you peace. So when you have a negative thought or reaction that activates your central nervous system, I encourage you to take a moment and assess those thoughts and ask yourself the question, is it true? Can I know with 100% certainty that this thought is true? If it's not 100% true, then you can always come up with an alternate thought that doesn't bring you stress, that is at least as true as the negative thought that does. Remember, you have the power to change your thoughts, and in doing so, you have the power to change your life. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe for more content on personal growth and mental well-being. Remember, if you change your thoughts, you can change your life.